So you could get your first 2K a month client within the next 2 days. And I mean literally. What's holding you back is not your skill, your script, your offer, or outreach. It's your fear of doing cold calls. For 85% of all niches, cold calling is still by far the most effective outreach strategy. But if you're not able to do enough volume because you are scared, then the whole agency won't work out. I did more than 9,500 cold calls myself, but I was paralyzed when doing the first ones. So, in this video, I will walk you through the exact step by step plan you can follow to get over the fear of cold calling. If you watch the video until the end, cold calling will become effortless for you. Before we dive into the practical steps to overcome the fear, we first of all need to understand what the psychology behind cold calls is. As I said before, cold calls are by far the most effective strategy for getting clients, but only if you do enough volume. Let me explain it to you using a great analogy. Imagine a gumball machine filled with gumballs in different colors: red, brown, and golden. There are mainly red ones, a few brown ones, and there's one golden one inside. You put a coin in and twist. Which color do you most likely get? Red. But since you want a golden one, you keep putting money in, and with every twist, the gumball machine becomes emptier, and the chances of getting the golden one higher. If you keep putting in money, you will get the golden one at one point. In the worst case scenario, it will be the last one inside and you will get it with the last twist. But if you keep going, you will get it. In this example, the gumball machine is your niche slash market. The gumballs inside are the events that can potentially happen. Every twist is a cold call, and the coins you put into the machine are the effort you spend doing outreach. If you now put a coin, so effort, into it and twist, so you cold call somebody, you will get a response from the gumballs, so from the market. It will either be a red one, so rejection or a no, a brown one, a small win, or a golden one, a call booked. Most likely, you will get a few red ones first, so you get rejected first. But if you keep putting coins, so effort in, and do more twists, so do more cold calls, it's inevitable to get all the gumballs out and hit the golden one, the booked call. Maybe it takes longer, or you're lucky and you hit it with the first twist. Now imagine the gumball machine includes all potential outcomes and companies you can call. Welcome to the game you play. Each call you make increases the chance of booking the next one, because there is a certain amount of people who will book a call no matter what. You just need to do enough outreach to hit them. Every no moves you closer to the next yes. You can make it a game, right? You can say, the more no's I stack, the faster I will get a yes. And in the beginning, you will only get the red gumballs because these are the 85%. You will most likely get rejected, they don't pick up the phone, or they just tell you no. Then at one point, you hit the first brown gumball. You get a response, and the feedback loop starts. Even if it's a no, at least you get a response. If you keep going, you will finally hit the golden one, the represent chance, the booked call. See it like this. If you do a cold call session, calling 100 people per day, each session includes around 85% red gumballs, so rejection, 12% brown ones, so responses, and 3% golden ones, so booked calls. Every no you get inside each cold call session moves you closer to the next yes, since the red gumballs are being removed and the golden one is still in there waiting to be pulled. The numbers will vary, but this applies to every one of you. You need to understand that the only thing holding you back from achieving your dream is literally not doing enough cold calls and volume. And the most obvious reason why people are scared of making cold calls is that they are scared of rejection. But to be honest with you, I believe that this is not true. People are not scared to do cold calls because they fear rejection, but they are scared of annoying people. When you do 100 dials a day, it feels like you call the same people over and over again, since every call follows the same structure and script and looks the same from your perspective. But in reality, you only call every person once. So you do a lot of calls, but the people only receive one call. Understanding this should relieve your fear a bit already, since you only speak to every person once. On top of that, think about what the worst thing is that can happen. In the worst case, they get angry and end the call. That's it. You never speak to them ever again. You're sitting there in your room, safe at home, and you don't even meet them in person. For your brain, it feels like you actually meet them because you can hear their voice, but it's not real. It's only in your head. But don't just let me give you some high-level tips, but actual strategies on how to make cold calling effortless. It's all about getting into the habit of doing it and shutting down your brain. To get into the daily habit of doing it, we need to make sure that different things apply. The trigger must be obvious, the action must be easy, and the results rewarding. We first of all need to make sure it's obvious when to do cold calls so you never run into overthinking. Back then, I connected cold calls with lunch. So after I had my lunch, I immediately started doing cold calls. If you don't have any events where you can connect it to, you can also create one. For example, doing 5 push-ups and then immediately starting cold calls. Because now the thing you have to do is push-ups, which then leads to doing cold calls instead of having cold calls on the list. Because the task of doing push-ups is much easier than doing cold calls. After that, we need to make sure that the action, so doing cold calls, is as simple as possible. I recommend you to have the prospect sheet on your desktop so you can open it within seconds instead of searching for it in your files every time. The last step is to make the reward big enough. You can connect doing a certain amount of cold calls to a satisfying reward. For example, having a nice Coke afterwards. If you implement these 3 things, cold calls will become much easier, since now it's easy to start, easy to follow, and you get a reward afterwards. Besides of that, we need to make sure to stick to them and do the dials you plan to do once you started. I like to tell myself that today I would only do 1 cold call. After the call was done, I told myself, let's do 1 more, and so on. I tricked my brain into thinking that the pain is over in a couple of seconds, instead of looking forward to doing 100 of cold calls. I told myself, let's do 1, and I kept telling myself this until I did 100. To make the transition between each cold call smoother and not run into overthinking, I also recommend you to do something small in between, which then leads to the next cold call. For example, drawing a line after each and before the next cold call. It becomes a process to your brain instead of different actions you have to decide to do each time. So you see, especially when doing cold calls, routines are everything. And what I just gave you is everything I believe you need to implement to make it much easier. But let me tell you one thing. The fear will stay. But the thing is, this feeling is not fear. I know exactly what you feel before each cold call because I was in your situation a couple years back. And the feeling you feel in your chest is actually not fear, it's energy. The sensation of fear is simply a signal that your body is preparing to handle the upcoming event, in this case, a cold call session. However, the problem arises when you let this energy get misdirected by negative thinking, especially when you worry about negative outcomes. So, fear is just energy misinterpreted. It is just energy your body generates in response to a situation that requires action. However, when you imagine a negative outcome, your brain believes the situation, so the cold calls, are more dangerous than they really are. And this belief causes your body to create even more energy, leading to tension. So make sure to reframe it that fear is just energy. The moment you start imagining a negative outcome, you trigger an unnecessary overproduction of this energy. But if you imagine the positive outcome, your body will generate just the right amount of energy to act. So again, it's just a feeling which you give way to. Just let it be. Don't analyze it, don't try to change it. Just let it be. I want to finish the video by saying that cold calls are not forever. It's about getting your first 3 to 5 clients and then adapting your strategy to something more scalable. They are a necessary part of the journey, but they won't last forever. Now that you hopefully overcome your fear, it's about following the right scripts and processes which actually lead to getting clients. If you're interested in the cold call scripts and systems my clients used to book between 5 and 15 calls per week, then you can check out the link below this video and watch the free demo video. See you there.